Okay, in this video we're going to talk about how to solve application problems involving percents. So, what you need to know, what you need to remember about this video is that percents is a special number. Remember what percent means? Out of 100. Okay, this is always going to be out of 100. So yes, we're going to use the proportion box. Okay, and this time we're gonna do a proportion, and percent, the number that is the part and the number that is the whole. What does all that mean? Well, here's what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to circle the percent, the part, the is, and the whole. The keyword is the of, and we're going to set up a proportion using the formula that's right here. Then we're going to cross multiply like we've been doing for the whole last week, and we're going to solve by division just like we've been doing all last week. But the important part here is to set it up. So let's spend a little time on talking about how we're going to set this up. Okay, the proportion is really easy. The first thing you have to do is you have to know that we're going to be talking about the part of the percent over the total percent. Okay, so the part of the percent is always going to go on top of the total percent. And over here is going to be the part of the other thing, whatever it is that we're talking about, over the total of the other thing, whatever it is that we're talking about. So let's go down to the examples and we can figure out what this part and total is all about. Now this is and that of, those are the key words that tell you if it's a part or if it's a total. Is talking about part, and if you see the word of, it's talking about the total. Okay, and if it has the symbol percent, that's the part of the percent. And if it does, if it's asking you for the total percent, then we know it's going to be always 100%. All right, so let me scroll down so we can see what the problem is going to be. So here is the first problem right here, and we're going to solve it with that proportion box. So here's my proportion box. We have a 75%, right? So this is going to be the part of the percent. Here's the keyword of, and of means total. That's the total of this number. The total number we have is 300. And then it says is, that's the other keyword, what number? We don't know what number that's going to be. So that means that this is going to be the part that we're looking for. So if we're going to label our proportion, this is going to be the part of the percent. This is the total percent. And this is the part of the number. And this is the total number. So we know what to fill into our box. The part of the percent is 75 because it had that symbol with it, that 75% right there. The total percent is always going to be 100 because that's what that's the highest percentage you can have if you have the whole thing. The part of the percent, the part of the number is what we don't know. It says is what number? We don't know. So it's going to be the x. And we do know the total because the keyword of 300, that's the total. So that's the proportion. To solve this proportion, I got to cross multiply and solve by division, or I can use a scale factor. In this one I can use a scale factor because I know if I multiply 100 times 3 is going to give me my 300. So this is my scale factor. So I can use it on the top as well. If I multiply 75 times 3, I get my answer for what x is. 75 times 3. 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 is 22. So x is equal to 225. Therefore, 75% of 300 is 225. So 225 is 75% of 300. And that's my final answer. Okay, x is equals to 225. And that's what is, the whole thing. So now let's look at this one. What percent of 90 is 27? There's the keyword of 90. Is 27. And they're asking us for what percent. We don't know the percent. Okay, what percent? So we don't know that percent. So what we're going to do here is the same thing as we did on the top. I do want you to write down your labels. Part of the percent over the total percent. This way you know exactly where they're going to go. Okay, also notice that on the top we have parts. Part equals part and total equals total. Here we're talking about percentages, and here we're talking about the number itself. So on this side it says what percent. We don't know what percent that's going to be, but we do know the total percent. That's always going to be 100. And then it says of 90. Remember, of, that means the total, and is 27. Is the part. Now here I cannot use my scale factor, but I have to cross multiply and divide, or if you rather say the butterfly method, you can. If I multiply these two, 90 times x is 90x. And if I multiply these two, 27 times 100 is 2700. Now when you cross multiply both of those, you gotta set them up equal to each other. You put the two cross products equal to each other. Then you divide by your coefficient. And if you remember from last video's notes, I told you that this 90 here, the number in front of your letter, that is your coefficient. So that's the number that I'm going to divide by. I'm going to divide by 90. And the reason we do that is so that this 90 and this 90 can cancel out. 90 divided by 90 is just 1. So that leaves me with just the x all by itself. And I need to find out what that x is equal to. It's 2700 divided by 90. Here's a shortcut that you need to know. If you have a 0 on the bottom and you have a 0 on the top, for every 0 on the bottom you can cross out a 0 on the top, leaving you with a smaller number. Now I only have 270 divided by 9 instead of 2700 divided by 90. So after I do the shortcut, I can go ahead and just divide by 9. 9 can't go into 2, but it goes into 27 3 times. That is 27, remainder 0. When I bring down the 0, 9 goes into 0 0 times. That's 0, and that's remainder 0. So my answer is 30. So x is equal to 30. That's it, I'm done. Okay, that's not that hard. It's the same thing we've been doing, but now we're talking about percentages. So this spot right there, that spot right there is always going to be 100. Always. It's always going to be 100. Okay, and I'm going to write that down right here. So you can write it down in your notes, and remember that whatever that number is always going to be, it's always going to be 100. Okay, so I'll let you do this one. 14 is 25% of what number? We don't know the total of the number in this case. So cross multiply and divide. Here's some practice problems for you in Word format. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure this out. Okay, Ms. Davenport calculated that 70%, that's the percent right there, of the students at King Middle School attended a Beaumont Bowl. If there are 630 students, that's the total amount of students at King. How many attended? We don't know the part of the students that attended. Okay, so we don't know the part. That's what we're looking for. So now we're going to fill in our box. Remember to always put your labels, the part of the percent, and the total percent, and the part of, in this case, the students, and this is going to be the total students. So I do know the part of the percent, that's this 70%, because it has a percent symbol behind it. The total percent, we know this is going to be always 100. The part of the students is what we don't know. We don't know how many actually attended, but we do know we have 630 total students at King Middle School. So that's 630. So to solve this problem, I can cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply 70 times 630. 0, 7 times 0, 0. Well, actually, 3 zeros, right? Then 7 times 0 is 0, 7 times 3 is 21, carry the 2, 7 times 6 is 42, plus 2 is 44. When I add them together, I get 44,100. Remember, we have to put the two cross products equal to each other. Now I got to multiply the other one. I got to multiply 100 times x. Oh, that's easy. That's 100x. So now we have to divide by the coefficient. And remember, the coefficient is always the number in front of the x. In this case, is the 100. So I'm going to divide by 100. Divide by 100 and divide by 100. Remember the shortcut I told you a little bit ago. For every 0 on the bottom, you can cross out a 0 on the top. So I end up with 1 over 1. Oh, that's just 1. So that leaves me with x. By the way, this 100 and this 100, we could have crossed out the whole thing because 100 divided by 100 is just 1, right? Here we can use a shortcut as well, and this 0 can cancel that 0 can cancel out that 0, and you're left with 441 divided by 1. Well, that's just 441, and that's our answer. So 441 students is how many attended the Bowman Ball out of 630. Okay, and that's how you're going to do these problems right here. Okay, we're going to set this one up, and then you can do it by yourself. Mr. Prater assigned 25 problems for homework. If you completed 14 of them during class, what percentage have you completed in class? So let's highlight the important information. 25 problems for homework. This is the total assignment right here. So that's all the problems. You completed 14. So that's the part of the problems that you completed. And the question is, what percent have you completed? So we don't know the percent, the part of the percent. But if we fill out the numbers, we already know that this bottom number here is always going to be 100, right? So we know this is going to be the part of the percent. We know this is the total. Oops, let me redo that. And the part over here of the problems. And then this is going to be the total problems. Well, we know the first thing here, that the total problems is 25, so that goes right here. The part of the problems is 14. You only completed 14, and we don't know the percent, so that's your x. So there you go, cross multiply and divide. Okay. All right, let's look at the next one. Carrie missed 9.6% of the problems on the test. The test had a total of 125 problems. Which of the following is the best estimate of the number of problems Carrie missed? Alright, so this is pretty much the same thing as the one we just did, except for now we have a decimal, and we're going to fill out the same. So make sure you draw your proportion box and label it. This is the part of the percent, and this is the total percent. This is the part of the problems that you missed, and this is the total amount of problems. Okay, so let's highlight the important information. Okay, so Carrie missed 9.6%. There's my percent that goes right here. Okay, that number goes right there. The test had a total of 125 problems. They even give you the word total. So that is the total amount of problems that goes right here. Okay, and then it says, which of the following is the best estimate of the number of problems? We don't know the number of problems that she missed. That's the information that we're missing. And remember what goes right here? The total percent, that's always going to be the 100. So now you can fill in your numbers, cross multiply and divide. Okay, now here I'm going to set this one up for you too. There's the keyword of. Remember, that means the total. So they'll have 250 total sheep. 34%, that's our percent, are white. What is the total number of white sheep? Oh wait, of. In this case, this of means the total number. So of the ones we had 250 sheep in a flock. No. See, I'm getting confused myself on this one, and you need to be careful with these kind of problems, because this is the correct keyword. Of is the total amount of sheep that we have. 34% are white. They want to know the number of white sheep. This keyword right here is what was confusing me, and you have to be careful with that. That's the distraction in this problem, because they don't want to know the total number of sheep. We already know that. That's right here. This is the total number of white sheep. Yeah, it's a total number of white sheep, but we don't need the total word there. We just need to know the number of white sheep. So there's my proportion box. Make sure you put the part of the percent right here. The total percent, you know it's always going to be. Then put the part of the sheep. In this case is the white sheep that we're looking for. We don't know that number. And the total sheep, we do know. That's this number right here. Okay, so don't draw all these arrows that I'm drawing right now on your notes. I want you to actually put the numbers inside the box, and I want you to cross multiply and divide like we did before. And then it says a total of 40 people made 40 cakes for a bake sale. Each person made 3 cakes. Mrs. Sanchez found that 15% of these cakes were chocolate. How many chocolate cakes were made for the bake sale? Okay, well, we know that 40 people made cakes for the bake sale. Each person made 3 cakes. Okay, so one person made 3 cakes. Mrs. Sanchez found that 15%, there's your percent, of the cakes were chocolate. How many chocolate cakes were made for the bake sale? Now, we know that there are 40 people and each person made 3 cakes. So how many cakes were there total? To find the total cakes, you have to multiply 40 people. Each one of them made 3 cakes. That's 120 total cakes. So now you can fill in your proportion box with the correct information. Where the part of the percent, they give us that in the problem, you always put the number 100 here for the total percent. And the part of the cakes is what we're looking for. How many cakes were chocolate cakes? And so in this case, we're looking for the chocolate cakes. And the total cakes, we just figured out. We just figured out how many total cakes there were. And that's this number right here. Okay, that's the total cakes. So that's the number that goes there. Perfect timing. There's the bell. I'll see you tomorrow in class.